Okay, sorry about that. I'm not really sure what happened, but yeah, well, at least the stream's back, right? Okay. Yeah, the focus. um so that was really weird. I've never had that happen before. OBS was running fine. I guess it just kind of like pooped on itself for a little bit. But we back. Working on this body. Let's see. I think I want to have this separated. That. Let's see. These legs don't have to be too complicated because you know they're not. They only bend like legs. They don't bend like bodies and stuff like that, or like torsos. So not much to worry about there. Just gotta be careful with the in between, like in between these two legs. I don't want like this. I don't want controls on this leg to pull that leg, so I gotta make sure I have enough points in between those, as well as enough points to actually control it. Okay, I'll probably be fine here. Here for the knee, and then for the foot. Maybe a little bit here too. Okay, this should be easy. There we go. Just thinking it over, make sure I got everything I need. Bit of a mess here, but that's fine. That should be good. Okay, it looks like the in-betweens here are great. Maybe a little bit more here. I want to say that's good. Maybe just a bit more points here. Oh yeah, and then here, because it's a foot. Okay, we'll roll with it. And if I need to add more points, I can. Actually, I don't want that point removed. Okay, and then I bind it to. Let's see, we need hips for sure. All the points, all the bones there, all these bones. These ones are separated out, these pieces, so I don't have to worry about those. These up here. That's separated out. I'll need this. And I think I'm good on not having that. So, all in all, that's not that many bones, which is great. That means making controls for this is going to be easy. And yeah, that looks like everything, so let's go. My people here with me are smack talking spine for it not auto-connecting bones and calculating the meshes. Well, I mean, I'm not super experienced in any other animation program, so you know, I don't have like that perspective. But I feel that this like connecting the bones and then like doing the meshes and stuff like that is most annoying when it automatically calculates the mesh for all of the bones. Because then I have to go in and tweak a whole bunch of stuff. Because sometimes it could give control of like the foot up here to the body, and it makes it like a 0.01% like control. So it's really hard to see those. So when I'm moving my foot, it controls up here, and I gotta search for specifically which point it has control in, and I just gotta like look really close. So that's probably the most annoying part about it, but overall I haven't had, I don't find it like too annoying making controls for this stuff. Okay, so, because usually, you know, I like to just rough it in, you know, rough it in like this, just put where I think the controls should be, and then just refine it little by little, just make sure all the controls feel good. But you know, I also only do like super simple animations, because that's just the style for Darkest Dungeon. So I don't have experience in like really complicated animations. Okay, I think this will be good. Maybe control over here as well for that. Okay, let's go down here now. So you've been streaming for a little under an hour. 10 minutes under an hour, rather. So making good progress. Okay. I think I also want it up here for the control. Of course, this is all going to need testing. I'm pretty sure this is going to be shared between these two legs. Okay, up here. And then just about everything up here is controlled by this upper spine bone, except for some stuff on this side for the clavicle, which I can easily add controls for. Okay, so let's start testing. Let's start with the spine because that's easy. Okay. So I think I'm gonna have something like this. And it needs control over here. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, quick test. Okay, so I don't want it to control that much down there, so I'll remove that. I also don't want that much control here on this side. Okay, it's better. I still want less control though. Was that like that normally? I don't think it was. Can't tell. Hold on, let me check something real quick. I think it was like that. Let me just I'm just gonna check the original sprite because it looks like this is glitched, but I'm not really sure. I gotta check. Okay, I think it's glitched. Let me see. What would cause that to be glitched though? I want to say it's good. Well, regardless, I gotta change some controls here anyway. I think that is actually just glitched, so I gotta figure out how that happened. What did I change? Let's see. That wasn't doing it. I personally have no idea what you're talking about when you say contort or the abstract art spray painting. Oh, do you mean like the meshing? So like adding the controls to the bones onto the art? I mean, I guess it's like it's a pretty. It is, you know, it is like a complicated concept in a way, but you know, it's just part of like the art stuff. So it's not anything you have to really understand to get the animations and stuff. Oh, it's probably gonna take a few more hours, but yeah, I mean, I'll definitely get to that later. Then. Oh, it's nearly 1 a.m. Then yeah, that oh, we can definitely get to it in the morning. Yeah, just watching the animation is good fun. That's good. I'm always worried that there's too much technical stuff on the streams to interest people, but I'm glad that that's not the case. Okay, why the heck? Yeah, see, it's definitely not something. I don't know what's causing that to happen. Oh, I think I do know. So, move those. It's gonna break it more. Yeah, see, okay, I fixed it. It's because I moved those points while I was creating the mesh. That's the entire reason why those were there. So let's just redo them. Okay, there. So now the mesh is fixed, so I'm fine now. I'm just gonna have to redo these bones because it screwed it up a little bit. Okay, so now we can get back to doing this. Okay, I'm getting close to something I can deal with. Okay, I just want less control down here. Okay. I think I like that. Cool. I can live with that. This one's gonna need some work. Shouldn't be too much. Okay, so I'm gonna rearrange these so that's easy to tell the difference of. That looks good. Okay, so I want some down here. Maybe a little over there as well. Okay, I actually want blue to have some more control here. Or purple, I think that's purple. I can't really, it's kind of hard to tell. cool. Make sure this one's fine too. It looks good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, cool. So that's good. Awesome. No need. I'm awake at night most of the time. Also, glitches happen in music too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then I'll get to you after. I'll definitely get to you after the stream. I just gotta, you know, I just gotta really think about what I want to give you in terms of feedback. Occasionally, you might accidentally do some shortcut when the wrong thing is open and things get jumbled into the wrong location. It's mental. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's give less control to that bone then, because I'm not really liking that right now. Okay, I think that'll work. Obviously, I gotta do this as well to make it really look good. But I also don't think I'm gonna have the arm go that high. So that's probably fine. So this one's gonna look a little janky down here because just the way the bones are created, but I just gotta check here is what I'm really looking at in terms of the controls for this. Okay, so it's pulling on this side, which I don't want. I'll find a way to fix that. Everything else looks good though, I'm liking it. Okay, why is it pulling? Oh yeah, it's because of this. Okay, so that means that's almost gotta be removed completely. Okay, I don't want that in terms of the control. Oh my god, that's so hard to see. Okay. There we go. So remove a lot of that. Should be good. Okay, looking good. Down here looks fine. To an extent. No, I think that's good. Okay, and then now let's worry about this stuff over here. Okay, so I would like the red part to have more control here for the knee. Okay, let's smooth it out some more so it's not so janky. Okay, and then the real test is going to be whether or not this looks good when it's moving up and down. It looks pretty decent, except for down there. Okay, so hopefully this becomes a good way to fix it. To an extent. And then if I rotate it, it looks okay. I would like this to have more control for the knee. Okay, I can probably make that work. And then I just gotta make sure the foot looks good too. Kind of hard to tell from that, but I think it's looking okay. Okay, gotta pull that back. Okay, so I want this one to have control in certain parts. Or no, I think it's red. I think I need the red to have control here. I think that's the reason why it looks so weird. could probably make it work. What's up, Vampiric Dark Dragon? And hey, Abusa. What's this? Unclothed monsters on this light server? Whatever will the Vestal think? Well, she'll probably get really stressed out and afflicted. That's probably what's gonna happen. Someone turning into a pelagic or some manner of seagull? Yeah, so the seagulls, yeah, that works. So they are bird people, so they turn, this is like an early stage of it. They're kind of like devolving and turning into bird demons. So this is like early stages, and then as they grow, the legs become a little bit more disjointed. They start growing like talons on their feet. Their teeth begin to sharpen, and they kind of like form into like a makeshift beak of sorts. And they start growing like really thick hair in the back. You can probably see some, if you look up like the Sunken City Darkest Dungeon mod online, you can probably see a lot of the previews, and you can see how it kind of like they start turning more and more into like bird people. That leg should be figured out. Let's see what I can do about this leg. Okay, again, that's a little hard for me to see. That's better. Okay, so I gotta... fixing. I think I want a little bit here. It's a little weird that it's controlling that. So that means this has to be more controlled than that. Oh, I see. So these are also controlling up here for some reason. So I gotta turn that back. Just tone it down. Okay, so I'm going to say that that's good. We'll definitely tweak it if I feel like it needs to be more refined when we animate. That looks pretty good for the leg. I just want a little bit more pinching there, so it should be pretty easy. Okay, there. Okay, good enough. Okay, so that's that should be the whole body done, which is great. That's probably the most complicated one. Maybe the hair's gonna be more complicated actually, because it's got all these bones, but it's pretty linear, so I don't think it's gonna be too bad. So let's work on this arm. Make it a mesh. So we're seeing featherless owls. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Okay. This does have a bone, so I gotta make sure I have points to compensate. That should be good. And then the rest of it's just, you know, like a normal arm, so I don't have to worry too much. Just gotta be careful about this stuff in between here, because they might overlap with the mesh. Okay, and here as well, I gotta be careful. Make that 2 points. Okay, separate it up with the thumb. I'm pretty sure I also made this 2 bones. And this hand is also separate. Okay. I want some stuff here for the shoulder. Probably also want a second set of points here. Okay, I think that's good. Should be good. So the clavicle, this thing, and then the rest of these. Okay. You have no idea what's going on, but this is pretty cool. This is like the technical part of doing the animations, just setting it up so I can actually you know, control it. So I can actually control it and then, you know, actually animate it, because a big part of doing the animation is being able to also control what you're animating. Because if I have really crappy controls, then I can't really like really tell how I'm gonna be able to like animate it. Like I won't be able to do exactly what I want. So I gotta make sure I have really good controls for it. Feel free to put a Cadillac medallion around his neck for a strong Will John resemblance. Yeah, dude. I could see it. Okay, let's see. Okay, auto-calculated, which could be... Yeah, it looks pretty unfortunate. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go in and fix all of this now. Okay, this needs control of all of this. And of course we gotta go in and also refine all of this as well. Okay, that's good. At least it should be. Maybe this one too, just a little bit. Okay. Should be cool. Okay, that should be everything here, unless I'm missing something. Doesn't look like it. And then now let's do this hand. Some more stuff here. And then this finger. Okay, let's separate those out because it's really hard to tell where all the controls are for that. Okay, now we gotta test everything, make sure everything looks cool. And that could definitely use work. There's like a pinch point here somewhere. I think it's these. I think that's what's causing it. I might say that's just fine, because I don't want it probably not gonna have it move too much since it's like a secondary detail in the character. Yeah, I think that's fine. What's up, D-Strut? D-Stut. Does this method actually save time over drawing individual pinnable parts in Animate or Toon Boom? I'm not sure. The only reason I'm using the only reason why I'm using Spine is because Darkest Dungeon require the animations require that it's a Spine file. So I have I use this program to animate because that's the reason why. But I did have it before Darkest Dungeon just because I like animating, and I find that the tool doing this type of stuff works really good because it can capture a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to do if this wasn't available and I had to cut it up even more to kind of like emulate this type of stuff. Then I think the end result would be more work, and the animation wouldn't look as good as the current method I'm doing right now. But I find the method works pretty well. Okay, I need stuff here. Okay, that's a little awkward. I might actually just have it control that instead. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, the average animation time for creatures like this is I want to say like 3 to 5 hours. It depends. That's like the average that I've been getting from animating these. That looks good. This side's gonna need work. Okay, that wasn't the right direction to go. Okay, I think I want one of these points deleted actually, that's what I'm feeling. So I'm gonna try that. Yep, okay, cool. This is just the idle animation, right? When she attacks and does anything else, it's not too crazy. Yeah, those are literally I make the image and then just paste it in, and then that's it. I don't have to do any animation stuff for that. It's just the idle animation one takes 3 to 5 hours. Looks great, dude. Thanks, Soliznik. Solinsic, sorry about that. Okay, just make sure those are cool. I think that's good. So far that looks pretty cool, except when it bends in, so I might want to fix that. about this? It looks pretty good, except there. Yeah, I can work with that. Let's see this one. Okay, so yep, I like that. Okay, let's see. So let's see points here, I think. Okay, what's causing that pinch? It's looking like one of these here. I think that's pretty good. Oh, what's up, Akale? I'm interested in this program, but this part looks tricky / intricate. I'm not gonna lie, it depends on the skeleton you're working with, but it can definitely be very complicated working on very specific skeletons. So I'm not using the program to like 100 like its full extent. People do some pretty insane animations in this program. Like if you look up some of the like more high-end animations people do in here, like they look like 3D models. Like they don't actually look like 2D images. They legitimately look like 3D models with like a shader or like a texture that makes it look like a 2D image. So like the high end of animations, like if you're not doing only Darkest Dungeon stuff, the stuff you could do like animation wise is pretty insane in this program, and it can be a pretty steep cost. $300 is a lot of money, but if you think about like the relative costs to other programs in similar fields like 3D modeling programs or like Photoshop and stuff like that, it's I think it's a reasonable cost, especially since it's a one-time purchase type deal, and you get all of these tools and stuff like that. And it's got the program itself has a lot of integration into games. Like it works really well in terms of like the animations and stuff like that, like how they handle the animations and all the images and stuff like that. It works really well with really well with games, which is probably why that's probably why Red Hook decided to use it for Darkest Dungeon. So yeah, if that's the type of thing you do, like you like doing animations for like 2D games and stuff like that, this is probably a really good program to learn. Okay, so a lot of bones are in the way. I think that's pretty good. I might want to work on this pinch right here. Looks good. Okay, so I think that's the whole arm. I want to work on this. It's pretty abrupt stuff. Okay, now it's controlling here, which is not what I want at all. Cool. Okay. Yeah, the setup. Yeah, it can definitely be complicated. Once you do it enough times, it starts becoming a lot easier. And especially if you're doing like armored characters with like lots of metal bits, you can avoid a lot of that. Since unless you're doing it like a 3-dimensional character, not like just like a straight up 2D animation. The metal parts you can usually get away with not doing meshes for. Okay, looking good. Okay, let's get this part out of the way. Okay, so in terms of the parts that are moving, 2 breasts and the shoulder is what I gotta worry about. So probably something like this should be good. And I just gotta worry about the other shoulder over here in terms of what's gonna be moving. And then since a lot of this is black, I don't have to worry too much about the details of the mesh up here. That's good, that's good. Some more points in the middle because they gotta separate. Let's rearrange these points. It's a little messy up there. Okay, let's see, that's good. Point there would be great. Okay, looking good. Maybe one there. And some up here. Okay, cool. And then we bind them. In terms of what's gonna be affecting it, probably the upper spine, both clavicles, and then these should be good. Okay, cool. Yeah, there we go. It's mostly black. Okay, it automatically placed the weights, which is probably bad news. Yeah, it looks like bad news. Okay, how am I gonna fix this? Lots of parts need fixing on this, so let's do that. Yeah, I'll worry about the clavicles after. Let's see. Okay, that looks fine. Okay, so just a little bit of blending in between the weights, and then it should be fine. This is probably going to be controlled by the red one, so I want to keep that in mind. So I'll test that real quick as well. Okay, that's a little hard to tell. That's better. So I want to keep that in mind while I do this. Okay. Okay, that's probably fine. And then this one needed to work, right? Yeah, it does. And then I gotta keep the clavicle in mind for that one as well. So let's do that. Okay, too much control. Let's take it back. Thinking about removing it completely, actually, now that I think about it. Or at least have it be very, very small in terms of its control. Yeah, that's probably good. And then I kind of want this to have some control on the ends here. Okay, looking good there. Looking good there. Okay, cool. I think that's good. Cool. There we go. What's up, Robert? We're I think we're about halfway through the meshing part of this, and then we can get animating. I'm not really sure. The hair might give me some trouble, so that might take longer than usual, but we're getting there. Okay, so let's do the face. Because that's only gonna have 2 bones, I think. Yeah, it's looking like 2 bones. Should be good. So up here. The head's not gonna be animated at all, so I don't have to worry about too much detail there. Put the points down here. I also have to, oh yeah, that's right, I gotta have these hanging around as well. So I'll probably have to separate these out some more. So let's do that. Otherwise, looks like jaw is gonna be good. Okay, gotta make sure those are good. Okay, that should work. I think it should. So the head, I don't have to worry about the teeth, the jaw, and then these bits. Okay, so it automatically generated it. Let's see if the weights are actually decent. It doesn't look like it because it looks like it put a lot over here. So I'll probably change those. Give the jaw its control. Again, and it gave this a lot of control here for some reason. So yeah, this is going to take a little bit of refinement to make sure this jaw looks good, but it's fine. Okay, let's go back and make one more point. Or some points over here at least, to separate out some more. Okay. And let's give those here. Okay, so let's test, first let's test the jaw. Hey, it's looking pretty good. Okay, I'd like to blend it, and I want to give it very small control on this upper lip. Just very small control. Just to make it so the upper lip doesn't look like it's made of stone. But I don't want to make it too noticeable, so that might be good. Okay, so let's start blending here. And same for the lower lip, which is a very small control. Whoops, broke her face for a bit. Okay, so far it's looking pretty good. Let me turn off the bones so it's easier to see. Okay, so let's see. So things I want to change. Just a little bit less. Okay, hold on. Okay, there. Just a little bit less. And then a little bit more here. Okay, I think that's good. So let's do these next. Okay, looks good. That's gonna need some work. Okay, looking good, I like it. Okay, I'm gonna say that's good. Let's work on the hair. It's gonna be pretty complicated. Okay, so this is all one just straight line, so that's fine. I'm gonna have to keep these pieces of hair sticking out in mind. So let's start working on it. And then specifically this middle part, I gotta have enough points to separate those out as well. What's up, Zane? We're currently setting up the meshes for the character, so like making it so these can bend and stuff like that and contort. And once we get all of that set up, then we can actually start animating the character, making it look cool. But for now, you know, we gotta do the technical stuff, so that's what it is right now. Okay, that's good. I gotta have these separated out, so let's start working on that. Okay, and then here as well. Okay. I want to think about how I want these to move. Let's see, so I have 2 points here, 1 point there. So I don't want this to look awkward at the ends here. Now that I look at them, they're separated. I might create an extra bone, so let's separate those out actually. Okay, and then up here. I think that's good. Here at least. And then let's just make sure none of these are doing weird things. It looks like they're all good. Maybe some of the stuff here I gotta be careful with. Okay, so, and then we can go back and add more if we need to, if that's not enough. So then start adding some points here. This needs to be separated out. Okay, that should be good for the hair. So now let's bind it to a lot of bones. The head's gonna be the base, just so I have like something for roots. And then all of these. And these. Okay, I'm gonna go back and make that one bone I said I was gonna make later. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so yeah, that's gonna need a lot of fixing. Whoops, wrong one. So yeah, this is actually probably the most complicated one. The body was probably, yeah, this is definitely not as complicated as this one, so this is gonna take a long time. Oh man. Okay, I guess we'll start up here and make our way down. It might actually be more complicated than it's probably less complicated than it looks. Given that this is a straight line, this is probably the part that's going to give me the most trouble. But we'll work through it. Your Saturday streams really keep me working on my mods, so thanks. Yeah, no problem, Application King. I know a lot of modders who want to get into this game have trouble with like the animation part and the art part of the game. So whatever I can do to help make that easier is always great. Wow, it looks cool. Thanks, ISO. Okay, after the hair, I gotta do some stuff for the back hair. This arm and these bits. Oh, and that finger too. So there's still a bit more we gotta do, but it'll be a lot easier after this. Okay, time to go on this side. And then this one needs control. I think I can tell the difference enough between those two reds. I think I'll be fine. Okay, and then that should be good. Okay, so now let's start testing. It's probably not going to move too much, so that's fine. Cool. So let me just look at it one more time. Yeah, that looks good, except for maybe this little bit right there. Have to use a bit of work. Okay. Let's see if I can reduce the control up here somehow. What do I do with that? Okay, cool. So I think that's reasonable for the hair. Let's go on this side now. Okay, so give the head some more control there. Yeah, I think it's worth worrying about this right now, so this mostly. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Cool. I think I'll just be happy with that. I would like it to have some control here as well. Just blend it a little better. Okay. Cool. That looks good. Those aren't connected, so don't have to worry about those. It's pretty decent. Let's see if I can remove control of this from up here, though. Okay, I like that. That looks pretty good as is. That also looks pretty good. Okay. That looks good. And that could use some work in that direction. But otherwise it's good. So let's just do that too. Okay. Okay, so I'm probably not going to move this too much because it's just to look really ugly when I push it too far. But otherwise that's fine. Okay, so that should be all of the hair done, which is great. It's a very complicated part of this that's out of the way now. Okay, cool. So that's that done. What do I want to do next? Let's see, these are all good. Let me just move this one more time. Because this is going to be a big part of the animation too, is her like chomping. Which looks great, okay. Okay, let's do this little finger so I don't forget. 2 bones should be nice and quick. I'll be back in a bit. I'll see if I can make some adjustments to the track. Yeah, no problem, dude. Will this Harpy have crazy dodge and speed, or play more of a support role, like an AoE heal if she uses a certain attack? Oh, it's definitely gonna have crazy high dodge and crazy speed. And it doesn't really play a support role. It plays more of a. It's almost strictly a stress. It's almost strictly a stress dealer, and then it does decent damage as well. But usually the damage is also attached. Usually stress is also attached to the damage it deals, because it crits a lot. So that's usually what happens is it crits with its damage dealing attack and then does a whole bunch of stress to your whole party. It's basically, this is meant to be the most annoying enemy you could possibly fight. So, where is it? Okay, there it is. So I want this to have more control of its area. like that. Okay, so I want the hand to have control on this side as well. Okay, I think that finger's great. Let's do this arm. Actually, hold on, let me check something. There's like little bits I want to make sure I don't miss, so I might actually start down here first. I'm just looking to make sure I didn't actually miss anything, so the back here is going to be important. I gotta make sure I do that. So yeah, let's start with the dangly bits here. Oh yeah, the one that throws juices at you. Sounds like an interesting enemy. Oh, it'll definitely be more annoying than him though, because this one will be stealthed, so you gotta use your tools to unstealth them and then kill them. So it's definitely gonna be annoying. But the upside is you don't have to fight a whole bunch of them because they're only in the hallways, and they also have their spawn chance is also pretty low, considering that you also can run into all the factions in the hallways. So you're not gonna, unless it's like one of those runs where the RNG just is in your favor, you're not gonna run into like a whole bunch of these guys. But when you do run into them, you're probably gonna take a lot of stress if you don't have a way to deal with them. Let's remove that. Insert double shield breaker impale spam. I mean, yeah, well, you gotta use expose first before you get them, and plus that high dodge. You never know. Like but shield breaker is definitely OP. So bringing shield breaker is gonna make this dungeon a lot easier than it is. Okay, let's do this one next. Insert hits all. Yeah, impale hits all four. Yeah. Yeah, the changes to impale definitely made her freaking insane. It's like like the whole reason the Hellion was OP was because she had the ability to damage any rank for full damage, and the shield break can do that at -10 damage. But with only one skill, and it's armor piercing, so sometimes that -10 damage doesn't actually matter because whatever you're hitting, you're actually doing more damage because you're ignoring all the prod compared to the Hellion, who would be doing less damage because of that. So big change, like that's such an insane buff to the shield breaker. Okay, so this should be good. I'm a little worried about how this is going to interact. This like extra dangly bit, but I don't want to separate it because that's really close to each other and it's probably not going to be worth the time to actually worry about. So let's just hope it looks good. But yeah, Shieldbreaker definitely excels in this dungeon because the crabs and cultists use a lot of prot, so having something that can ignore prot is really great. Plus, you know, being able to hit any rank is also really great in terms of the flexibility of adapting to fighting whatever you're fighting. Yeah, I don't want that, so let's remove that. Whoops. Okay, I'm actually happy with that, so moving on to the other one. Yeah, okay, so my problem with the Shieldbreaker right now is Impale's so good that I don't have a reason to use any other ability. Like the reason you would use something like what was that called, Puncture, was yeah to break guard, but also to pull something to the front so you could hit it with like Impale or Expose, especially if it was a target in rank 4. Plus, it's something you could do in rank if you're in rank 4 and don't have access to something like Impale or Expose. And the reason I would use Expose is, you know, like the debuff attached to it is really awesome, and the ability to hit rank 3 with Expose was really great. But now I'm finding that whenever I use Shieldbreaker, the only ability I ever use is Impale because it's so good. So if they do any nerfs to her, I definitely want it to only be changing Impale to, at the minimum, like the minimum thing I want them to do is make it so it can't hit rank 4 at least. But I think if they nerfed it any further than that, then it would be just, I think it's justifiable to nerf it anymore. Because before hitting rank 1 and 2 with it was fine because most of the targets with prot were in rank 1 and 2, you know? So I think it was definitely a really freaking huge buff, and I think they went overboard, so I don't know, we'll see what they do. What am I doing? Oh, I didn't even mesh it. I don't know why I'm moving the bone around. Okay, looking good. Cool. Yeah, plus Shieldbreaker is relatively fast for a damage dealer, which is great. Just makes her like insane. Oh yeah, and the other one is I find almost no reason to use Captivate anymore, because I find that using Impale just does the job of Captivate. The only thing I'm missing out on is the Blight, but when I have something that just ignores prod and can hit any rank, it's just like, you know, why would I use Captivate? It's just like, I think Captivate might have higher crit, that's the only reason I ever use it, but Impale just overshadows Captivate almost entirely. Because, you know, the whole point of a dot is to ignore prot. So Captivate would be like my go-to if I needed to ignore prot in rank 3. Or if I didn't want to move for some reason. But now that Impale can hit any rank, then, you know, using a dot, which the whole reason of using a dot is to ignore prot and get more damage over time in short fights, or in longer fights. Like, there's almost no reason to use it. Maybe if you wanted to like set up a grave robber or something with that extra blight damage, maybe, but I usually find that I never use it. Now, before the changes to Shieldbreaker, I actually used Captivate a lot. That was like my favorite move to use, but not anymore. Okay, all that's done, so I guess the only thing left is this arm, so let's do that. Okay, before we started, I gotta go to the restroom real quick. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Yeah, Shieldbreaker's the new flag. I mean, yeah, probably. The only problem I have with so it's just the fact that Shieldbreaker, some of her, you know, like right now, some of her abilities I have almost no reason to use. Like Adder's Kiss, I kind of wanted Adder's Kiss to get some form of buff during the Color of Madness patch, because it's like it's a move it's a move with very, very restrictive positioning and targeting, but it doesn't do it. Almost like the gain that you're getting from it isn't nearly as high compared to an ability like Captivate or Impale, you know? Like, you're not getting a high amount of damage out of it. Kind of like when you think of something like Point Blank Shot, you're getting like 50% extra damage. Well, Adder's Kiss isn't actually, like, overall, Adder's Kiss doesn't give you nearly as much of a bonus for using it in the first place. And plus, you know, it takes up a skill slot on Shieldbreaker, and there's just, you know, better skills you can be using for that. I don't use more than one Shieldbreaker just to keep it interesting. Yeah, but you know, the way I play is I don't really use any restrictions, so because I like testing the game as it is, and that's usually how I find a lot of the broken stuff. And if something like that, you know, like if something is so powerful that you have to add restrictions to make the gameplay interesting, then I definitely think it needs to be nerfed. Hopefully we'll see something. But yeah, usually when I'm designing the enemies and dungeons and stuff for Sunken City, I always keep the most OP classes in mind. So before the patch, it was I was thinking about, like, okay, so how can I play around Houndmaster, or how can I design the enemies so that classes like Houndmaster or Man-at-Arms will make the dungeon a cakewalk. And now that they've nerfed Houndmaster and Man-at-Arms, they're kind of like, they're still really powerful classes, they're just not as strong as they used to be. They're kind of like, I can be a little bit more lenient in terms of, like, okay, so I don't need to have this enemy, I don't have to worry about this enemy being abused with, like, Houndmaster guard spam, or like Man-at-Arms, like a stun-based Man-at-Arms and stuff like that. Now I have to worry about Shieldbreaker being so strong that she can like basically disable certain enemy comps, because she's just so insanely good. Yeah, it just all comes back to Impale on Shieldbreaker. That's just so, it just removes the reason to ever need something like Adder's Kiss or Captivate, you know? Like I would almost never have those skills on my skill bar because Impale exists, and it fills those skills roles so well that, you know, like, why would I ever want to have those skills on my bar? Just gotta be careful. Make sure this since this arm is, you know, bending, I gotta make sure that the points in between here are great. It's only 3 bones, so it's not super complicated, but I just want to make sure it looks good when I'm using it. So yeah, that's why, like, before the changes to Shield Breaker, she was still insane. Like, she was still insane for this dungeon because of all the you know. But now that they've made her really good, I'm kind of worrying that running something like triple Shield Breaker with 1 healer might make this dungeon super easy. So I gotta watch out for that. Okay, I didn't calculate weights. That's totally fine. It's not a very complicated mesh to begin with. Okay, let's fix that. Okay, so I'm gonna go adjust that because the in-between here is a little troublesome, so I wanna fix it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. I gotta do back at the hair, so let's do that. Wherever it went. There it is. I couldn't agree more. Skills on a character should ideally always be a trade-off. When one skill overshadows everything else, it's a pretty clear problem. Yeah, so I mean that's my philosophy for designing characters. Is when I design my classes, I always think, okay, so each skill should bring something to the character in terms of like flexibility and the tools that it can, like the tools the character can do, and you know, like having one skill that is an obviously better in almost every way to another skill just makes it like a super trivial choice, and it also affects the character in terms of like how interesting they are. Because if you have like a one obviously an obviously better way to play a character, then you're like, there's no point in experimenting with the character, because you know that like you know that the other two skills are so useless that you're never going to use them, so you only ever play the character one way, and it just becomes super boring to play that character after that, you know. So it's really unfortunate that the change to Impale made Shieldbreaker to a character like that. And I'm hoping that something changes eventually to make a lot of her like damage skills more even in power level. Like I really want Adder's Kiss to be something I want to use, but it's just like it's so underwhelming compared to something like Impale. And you know, like each character only has 4 skills they can pick, so it's not like I could just have Adder's Kiss for fun, because I have like other skills that I want to use on the Shieldbreaker compared to that. And like a lot of people complain about the flag nerfs, but I like the flag nerfs because one, he was like really powerful before anyways, but it also makes it so that like the nerf to punish and the buffs to everything else, all the changes, make it so that I find that when I run Flagellant, I have I like to choose between all 7 of the skills, because all 7 of the skills in my opinion are kind of like equal in power level. So like Punish is really great because it's still like a decent damage, high bleed on a single target, and I almost always take Reign of Sorrows because I like having that damage versus the back, especially now that it's pretty decent to use, is really great. Where before it was like Reign of Sorrows did so little and Punish was able to hit rank 3 that I never run Reign of Sorrows, and I just deal with the fact that Flagellant can't get rank 4. And you know, like Endure's actually good now. Or what's that ability? I think it's Endure, the one that takes stress from an ally and gives it to the Flagellant. Now that ability is actually good because the scaling isn't like super dumb. So I find that the current Flagellant, I think about what skills I want to take because all 7 of them are really useful in the Flagellant. But it's not the same for the Shield Breaker, since Impale is just stupidly good. Like I would never think of not taking Impale, because it's just, you know, it's basically mandatory on that character. Plus the other one is they advertise Shield Breaker as a dancing class, you know, like a lot of her abilities move her around. And it's kind of dumb that Impale is usable in rank 1 and moves her forward 1, so you can run the Shield Breaker like a Hellion, where she's just in rank 1 all the time and can just hit any rank, you know. And then moving to any rank other than moving to any rank except for rank 4, the Shield Breaker can still use Impale, and that eventually fixes her position so she can be back in rank 1 and just keep, you know, spamming Impale. So it's like, you know, Shield Breaker went from kind of a dancing class where you have to worry about your positioning a little bit to a rank 1 character, and then if you take a second Shield Breaker, then occasionally both Shield Breakers switch from rank 1 and 2, but that changes like almost nothing. So it's like, you know, it's a little unfortunate that's what Shield Breaker has become, but I'm confident that Red Hook will eventually do something to address it, because they've been pretty on top of it in terms of like balance and improving the DLC and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure something will happen eventually. Okay, where do I want this to connect? Let's see. Before I check that, I want to check these. See how these look. So I probably want to connect it to a lot of these bones here. And that looks like all I really need to worry about. Yeah, it's the options part. That's what makes Flagellant. That's what makes Flagellant like really fun for me now. Like before it was just kind of like, you know, it's like you got a character that basically is good all the time. Like there's never a bad situation for a Flagellant. Even if he's moved to the back, he's got like movement 3, so you only have to spend like 1 turn moving, so it's not like a super big deal. But now I feel he's still like super powerful as a character. But I have options in terms of like I have to make trade-offs in terms of like the kit that I use with him. I can't just rely on Flagellant being Flagellant to carry me through a dungeon. I actually have to, you know, like think about what I'm doing. So I think Flagellant's great right now. But you know, Shield Breaker's like only ability I ever use is Impale. And maybe if I'm in Endless, maybe I'll use what's that one called? Serpent Sway to just get some blocks up in between rounds when all the enemies are dead, but that's it. So I need to check if it meshed correctly. Okay, it auto meshed, so I'll do my best. It's a pretty simple mesh, so I don't have to worry too much, I guess. But yeah, right now, at least as a whole, Darkest Dungeon is definitely a lot more, like, right now all the classes are closer to their power level compared to before, at least. Where, you know, like before it was like super obvious that Houndmaster, Hellion, and Man-at-Arms were like the go-to classes. Now it's like a lot more, like, even, excluding the Shieldbreaker. Well, maybe that, and except for maybe the Vestal, because now I find that I never want to use an Occultist healer compared to the Vestal, because the Vestals, I think her 2 healing abilities got higher values, like they all increased by 1 point or something. And plus, she can use her stun in rank 2, which overshadows the Occultist, because I think the Occultist stun is like 10% more powerful, so it's a strong stun, but it's almost the exact same as the Vestals. Like the Vestal has the same targeting and position requirements. No, actually the Vestal's one is more flexible. It can't be used in position 1, but it can be used in like all the other positions, so it's actually more flexible. But the targeting is the same. So I find that, you know, like Vestal overshadows the Occultist super hard now. Plus, Occultist lost D-Stealth and the Vestal gained it, so I don't know. I find Vestal a lot stronger than the Occultist now. That's the only one. Okay. Cool. Oh, this isn't connected to the head. Okay, I don't know how those moved back, but they did. So let's reconnect them to the head and hope nothing breaks. Okay, looks good. All good in the hood. Okay. Yeah. So the meshes are definitely what do that. Where it looks like, if you look really close to some animations, you can see that it looks like they're breathing just slightly. That's what the meshes do. And the meshes also help with this skin stuff. So like when a lot of the characters with like where you can see like their skin and stuff, and the mesh itself, it's separated very clearly. So like there's not these heavy blacks separating out the head or the arms, where it's like this, where it's at an elbow. The meshes help make that look a lot more natural. So far it looks like all the meshes are good. Okay, so the only one left is the hand. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, and then like if you have something like a tentacle or something where it like curls around, that's what you use meshes for too. It just makes it a lot easier than having to separate something out in like into like a whole bunch of pieces, you know? And then even if you do that, sometimes you're restricted in terms of how much you can move it, because it becomes obvious if you bend it too much that it's a separated piece. So meshes just make it a lot easier to animate those types of things. Oh, what's up? What's up, Element 5? I didn't see you there. We're almost done with the meshing part of this this character, and then we're gonna get into the animation. And I want to say the animation's gonna be easier, but last week I was having a lot of trouble with that character for some reason. So I'm not like 100% sure it's gonna be so easy, but I'm going to assume it's going to, because this is a much easier character. This should be a much easier character to animate compared to last week. Okay, that should be everything. Cool. Okay, cool. Time to get into animations. Let's see, to counter shield breaker spam, you should make an enemy that can give itself and buff the buff the group with stealth / Aegis, or even both. Or CC Manserpent, all guard skills when he transforms. Okay, so in terms of like ways I've been thinking of countering shield breaker, one of them is the Harpies. All the Harpies are high speed, high stress. A lot of them do attacks that have small damage, but like other effects like flight or stress. So that's a way to counter Aegis if shield breaker has like Aegis up all the time. And almost none of them have prot, so then Impale just becomes a regular attack. And in terms of the other ones, there's guards. The cultists have Aegis, so that's a way to counter shield breaker. And she's still going to be great against the crabs because they all have prot, but I can't really do much about that because that's just the way their faction is built, is high prot. So I definitely have ways of dealing with them, dealing with the shield breaker. So make sure I have the keys here. It's a 26 frame animation. It's probably the shortest one I've ever done, but it's a fast character, so I want to make sure it looks fast. I forgot to ask, what's your personal favorite thing about Darkest Dungeon music? Let's see. Well, so probably my favorites in the Darkest Dungeon musics is the DLC. I feel like the reason for that is Stuart Chatwood, the composer. You know, as an artist, you know, working on any form of art, you get better over time, and you know that's his most recent work, so it's his best work. And I'm trying to think of why I like him so much. It's probably because I like I think it's the rhythm. I like the rhythm of it. It feels like battle music, like it gets me hyped when I listen to it. I get hyped to fight whatever I'm fighting. Especially like the trailer. When I first heard the Crimson Court trailer, I got super hyped for the DLC because it was just like the music really flowed with like the trailer while it was presenting everything in it. I just really love that. Like, I don't get excited for a lot of games, but I was excited for the Darkest Dungeon DLC. The drums? Yeah, the drums. Or I don't know. I don't really like dig into the music, you know, but I guess drums can be a big one. I think the end game dungeon. I don't know, the end game dungeon music's really great too. They have like in the background there's like a chain thing, like they're like dangling a chain or whatever, and the noise for that, I don't know why it sticks to me so much, but I just really like that sound. Harpies are best. That Ready Arius looks healthy. Good friend of the thrall, yeah. It's a deadly enemy. The Harpies have a lot of marked damage bonuses, but this is the only character that can mark in their comps. And it's because of that net, and that net is a really strong mark attack. It stuns, it lowers your dodge and speed, and it marks. It's a really strong attack. And and that's what makes this character very deadly. But yeah, I don't know. I like the music because it gets me hyped, and when I'm in game playing, it does the same thing. Okay, I guess I'll think about how I want this little lady to bounce. Let's check out what these boys are doing. Okay, I'll probably save that one for the Harpy. And then I'll mess around with the position of it to see what where I want to go. Turn off image selection because I'm not going to need to select images for this. Okay, bend this the other direction actually. Kill them all with fire. Bouncy little ladies. High net worth. Oh my god. Thanks, the Harpies. It was weird designing them because they're a very different faction from the rest of the dungeon. In terms of, like, you know, we got crabs because they're from the sea, and then we got gladiators because they're, you know, it's like a Roman Greek type thing with a big emphasis on the whole gladiatorial fights. And we got these guys, which are Harpies. You know, like, Harpies are bird people, you know, so they're not like an actual, like, on-point definition of what Harpies are in mythology, but it's like, you know, they're like a bunch of women who are deforming into bird-like monsters. So it's a weird faction to like create, and like the closest thing in Darkest Dungeon to these guys are like the mosquito guys from the Crimson Court, and even then these two have very different, like this faction has very different mechanics from that from those in the Crimson Court. Let me just check that out one more time. I want to say the leg bounce is okay. I need to do the rest of the torso to really get a feel for the general movement of the character. Yeah, the gladiator aesthetic and the red ears I like most. Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I went with the Sunken City, is because gladiators are just so cool if you think about them. Like design-wise, because like there's a whole bunch of different types of gladiators, and it was to an extent, you know, a very it's a very, how do I say it? Like you know, like back then the populace loved watching gladiators. They're spread out a whole bunch of like I guess romanticism of like gladiators and rooting for your favorite fighter and watching them fight. You know, it was like super epic. So, you know, it was really appealing. It was an interesting idea that people like to watch other people fight, you know, armored up and everything, fighting with a bunch of different weapons. It was a really cool, you know, it's a really cool thing from history, and I really wanted to do something with it, so I decided to go with that. And, you know, here is the Sunken City with all these, like, gladiator-esque elements added in with Eldritch Horror and, you know, like, a bunch of different things, so... And it's definitely really fun. It was definitely really fun coming up with a lot of the different creatures. Okay, so I want to think about going down. I'm still thinking about whether or not I want to offset the face animation like the dog. Oh, I'm definitely getting a very trolly feel from this character, which is great, because that's what this character is basically a troll. He just comes to wreck your party, push stress, and then leave. Okay, let's try offsetting everything to see what it looks like. Kind of like the old one. This one, I think this one runs a little better. And then I'll just have to do actual offsets on this top part. I also gotta keep in mind this isn't like a super fancy enemy, so I don't want it to look like a fancy enemy in terms of like the animations. So I'll be okay if the animation looks basic compared to some of the other enemies. Bouncy little troll ladies. Oh, it's a player. No, this is gonna be an enemy for a faction in a dungeon that I'm working on. It's a ways off, but you know, I like to track my progress, especially since this is a very huge dungeon with a lot of enemies in it. So that means it's gonna take a really long time for me to finish it. But you know, it's a hobby, so I don't have to worry about any deadlines. So I can be very relaxed while I work on this. Let's see here. I am way into Greek mythology, so I approve. But yeah, there are several interpretations of the harpies. Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing, you know, it's mythology, so it's all up to the perspective of the person writing it, and then history can alter that too. So I like to think that, like, the way I design some of the bosses is a lot of them are named after mythological creatures, or they're very reminiscent of them, and I alter them in some way to change the like a different, it's like a different interpretation of the same description, you know. So like I have a Hydra enemy in the game, like a Hydra mini boss, and in the description, you know, Hydra's a seven-headed serpent, and the heads can regrow or something like that. So I made it into a seven, like they're like it's like a body with seven like gigantic leeches coming out of it, and that's my interpretation of the Hydra for this dungeon. So I did that a lot for all the different mythological creatures. And you know, I like that about Darkest Dungeons. Darkest Dungeon also tries to put a twist on a lot of things. So like all the classes are obviously influenced by certain generic classes, like, you know, Crusader's the Paladin, Highwayman and Grave Robber are the Rogues, you know. But they've added some twist to it to make it feel a lot more unique than those archetypes. Oh yeah, accuracy is a big thing to have in this dungeon. But also, like, characters like the Leper and the Thrall also work in this dungeon too, because there's a lot of enemies with no dodge and just high health and prot, you know. So they're having a good mix of damage and tools to deal with the enemies is really important. And if you don't have specific tools, then you can probably feel the lack of those tools as you play through the dungeon. Yeah, I do draw myself, player. Art, you know, art's a very big part of my life, and it's very fun for me to draw things. So it's great that Darkest Dungeon's a very heavily like its art style is very distinct and very fun to draw, and I'm glad that the tools are available to make for me to be able to make these mods, and there's almost no restriction in terms of the art side of it, so I can do whatever I want and add it to the game, which is really great. I'm not sure what the bounty hunter is actually. Yeah, that's a good point. It's probably just like a standard warrior type, is what I want to say. Is what bounty hunter is. A fighter, I think it's called in D&D. Yeah, I haven't made any like promotional stuff because usually what I do before I release classes, you know, is I try to hype it up a little bit, you know, like making some like promotional stuff and then like posting about it, putting little tidbits. But this mod is so big and it's gonna take so long to make that I'm okay with just having like a lot of the monsters, you know, like all this animation stuff available every week, just like posting it because I know a lot of people want to learn more about the animation side of Darkest Dungeon. So I'm happy to be doing this, and when I'm close enough that I'm confident I'll be able to release it in time, then I'll start doing like a whole bunch of promotional stuff for this, because this is a huge freaking dungeon. Yeah, that guy, this definitely looks like some freaking troll monster ready to troll your team, so I'm glad that I'm conveying that in the animation. Yeah, exactly, so the way I design monsters is I look at something similar, like for Lamia it was Medusa. So I look at Medusa and I think, okay, what can I add to Medusa to make Medusa a very interesting new concept? And you know, what I added was leeches, or lampreys. So instead of snakes, it was lampreys. And then I just added she also holds a broken mirror to make herself look like a beautiful woman, you know. Because, you know, it's like Medusa, the way Medusa is defeated is she sees her own reflection. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if she had a broken mirror, and then that led to she can hold the broken mirror and become a beautiful lady? Because Medusa's also all about like hideousness and stuff. So, you know, adding a twist to an already well-established idea is usually how I come up with a lot of my stuff, and people love it. You know, like Lamia is one of like people's most favorite modded classes, so it's great that that took off. Okay. Definitely want to make it look bouncy, given how much she dodges. Okay, cool. That's great. How many enemies was it per faction again? So 8. There's 8 separate enemies for each faction, with the exception of the Abyssal faction, which is 9, because there's 2 types of spiders that you can run into for that faction. It isn't the Thrall, yeah. Thrall is also another one of people's favorites, but that one, you know, Thrall also has a good portion of people who just hate him because of the way he is, but a lot of people like him because of that too. So it is what it is. Yeah, so this is definitely look like a little troll. I might make her actually go down more. Little troll character, perfect. This is what all Darkest Dungeon players want, an enemy made specifically to just troll you. Okay, this leg is moving a little too much for my liking. Or maybe it's the fact that this leg isn't moving enough. Yeah, Medusa 2 changed so much over the course of history. In the beginning, she was just a hideous monster. Let's see, the end, a beautiful thing, changed by a vengeful god for the crime. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's, after all, it is mythology, so it's a story of something, and that story can change over time. Yeah, for sure. That's probably like my favorite thing about mythology, though, is that the interpretation of that can change based on the material. Like you see like examples of the like quote unquote Medusa in a lot of games, and the interpretation of it changes with every game. And you know, the amount they deviate from the source material also changes. Like some interpretations of Medusa are just so different from what you would think Medusa would be, and that's freaking great. It looks official. Thanks, player. Okay, so I gotta do something with the arms too, obviously. But I'm liking the general movement of the body. That's looking good. My only concern is the legs might be moving. This leg might be moving too much, but that's easy to fix. I might actually fix it now. Good enough. Obviously, you know, everything's easy to fix, so that's fine. Is this the jaw? It is, so let's do the movement of the jaw. Oops, not that type of movement. Okay, I think I'm gonna stick with that for now. I don't know if I wanted to do this type of thing where it's like chomping rapidly, or if I want to do something like this, you know, just add some variety in terms of like the way each enemy kind of like behaves. Because you know, this one's doing kind of like a very more exaggerated motion in terms of its upper body, and this one's kind of like a little bit more toned back in terms of that. So I'm still thinking about it. I'll figure it out. It's part of the animation process after all. It's just like messing around with things and seeing what sticks. Yeah, 4 toes for 4 fingers. Yeah, exactly. Even the Thrall, let's see, will the Thrall ever have his heal back or no? In my opinion, the stress heal makes it easier to deal with stress. Probably. I don't know if I'll ever add the big heal back. He's probably gonna have small heal attached with the stress only, because that seems to have solved a lot of people's problems originally. Was that it felt like in order to run Thrall, it was like mandatory that you run a stress healer, and now I don't get many comments about that anymore. People feel that the change added variety in terms of the comps you can run with Thrall, which is great. I always try to strive for more variety in terms of gameplay for characters. Oh yeah, the quick biting's more bird-like. That actually makes a lot of sense, yeah. I can see what you mean, yeah. I'm gonna try something actually. Let's try faster breathing, so it cycles faster. Yeah, now it just looks like she's chomping really fast. So a little too fast. Okay, let me think this over. Okay, so definitely gonna revert back to what it was before. I'm just gonna keep it like that for now. I'm gonna think it over while I work on some other stuff. So, like this. Okay, not sure if I want these to move in terms of like actual movement, not rotations. Probably not, because that already looks pretty exaggerated. Too close to Moonlit Dungeon? I don't think I mean, even if Moonlit Dungeon comes close to mine, then I'll definitely postpone mine, because there's probably, when I get close to finishing it, there's probably stuff I could polish up in the meantime, but if it ends up aligning like that, then I can definitely postpone mine. Did you already plan a release date? So I don't have an exact release date, but I want to finish it within a few months, you know. And at the pace that I'm working, it's looking like I can get it done in a few months. But you know, obviously things pop up in between, you know, so you never know. Grinding teeth, maybe left to right. No, I don't think I want to do grinding teeth for this faction. Their teeth. So the thing about grinding teeth is that requires that your teeth can align in the first place. And these guys do not have teeth that align at all. Like they probably can't even grind their teeth. They probably can't even close their mouths properly, actually, because the teeth are just so misaligned. So I don't think I'm gonna do grinding teeth. Feels peckish, yeah. Since they tend to have very abrupt motions and not floating ones. Yeah, for sure. For birds. Yeah, it makes sense. I'll think of something. Yeah. Sharp needle-like teeth, yeah. Okay. Yeah, they'll be Sunken City and MLD will be compatible. It's just gonna take Claire forever to make it compatible, because you know it's a huge mod. There's so many monsters. She's gotta add like affixes to those. Like, rest in peace, Claire. But if she does it, you know, I'm 100% for it. I like the exaggerated arm movements though. It really helps with the character. I feel it helps the character. Let's do some more. Let's just make this super exaggerated. This, because I'm also trying to. It's like in the back of my mind. I also want this character to look like a character that's gonna freaking run for its life the moment it feels like it's threatened. So it's gotta be like a little character that looks like it's ready to just freaking dash for safety. I don't think I actually moved these. I just moved the clavicles. Okay, so now that arm is moving a lot, and I don't really want that much movement. cool. Will you modify an already existing dungeon or is this anything that allows you to do this in the beta? So this dungeon won't modify any of the existing dungeons at all. I do plan on eventually doing like kind of like expansion packs for each dungeon where I add a whole bunch of more monsters and stuff like that, maybe more curios. But that's down the line, you know, like way down the line after I finish this dungeon, because I like to keep my mind on what I'm currently working on, because I don't want to be distracted by a whole bunch of different projects, because then I'm not going to get any of them done, you know? So I'm focused right now 100% on this dungeon, and then I'll work on coming up with, like, fleshing out my ideas for all the other dungeons. Because that's just, like, I find I run into that problem a lot where I'm working on something, and then I come up with an idea for something else, and I work on that, and then another thing, and then another thing, and then I don't finish anything, you know? Is that a bone dagger in the imp's hand? No, it's actually a broken piece of metal. Just something to stab you with, so. Let's see, I think I'm so late on modding updates. Well, if you're on Steam, then the updates should be automatic. Someone's asked me for a list of the sisters' barks. Is that available? Would you ever want to make it so? Yeah, so the list of barks is available on the Steam page in the localization thread. So there's like a thread for people who want to help with localization, and I have a Google Doc there that lists all of the lines for the sisters as well as all of the tooltip stuff. But if you're not interested in that, then you could just look at the barks themselves. So you could look at that list if you want to see that element 5. Wouldn't these need to be flipped since all enemies come from the left? How would that look? So the game automatically flips them to be, you know, they automatically flip them if they're enemies. So I'm animating them like this as if they're heroes, but in game the game flips them anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, let's see. That emote is too cute. Thanks, dude. I did draw that emote. I tried really hard to make sure I nailed it. Let's see. Yeah, it probably won't be compatible. Moonlit Dungeon probably won't be compatible for a while because it's like Claire's already got like a huge workload, you know, doing all the monsters and stuff like that, and all the affixes for each monster, and that's been taking up a lot of her time in terms of development for MLD. So you can imagine what it's like doing it again, because this is basically 3 dungeons worth of monsters. Doing it again, doing all the affixes for those monsters, and making the dungeon compatible with MLD probably is going to take a while, but I know that she plans on doing it eventually. Let's see. Just catching up in chat real quick. Yeah, no problem, E5. Okay. Let's see. I saw Muscarine working on a new class, but that one is going to use features that are on the beta. Okay, so creating new regions was actually available before Color Madness came out. Like, I was working on this mod before that DLC, and that was definitely, I think it's been a feature for a while. It's just it's such a large scope project that no one's ever taken it up except for the guys who made the mountain mod. But as far as I know, that mod is actually discontinued, so they're never gonna finish it. But it's definitely it proved that dungeons are a thing you can mod in this game, like making new dungeons. And I've also proved it by making all of these guys and making the dungeon. Even though I haven't shown off the dungeon yet, but just know that on the code side, I've made the dungeon and it's 100% functional. Like, I haven't run into any issues with that dungeon. Yeah, the fawn emo is really good too. Yeah, that Musk did a really good job making that one. Yeah, fixes for MLD. I don't know what affixes they'll be. That'll be up to Claire, but just know that Claire's planning on making it available. And fighting these guys with affixes, rest in peace, dude. Your team's not gonna survive. I'm liking the general direction with this. Obviously, I gotta do all the little dangly bits too, including these dangly bits. Let's do that right now. Oops. Let's make sure it's not too exaggerated. And offset them, because they are weights hanging off of the body. Make them separately offset. There we go. Okay, so all of that's good. These need to be worked on. Arms are decent. I might work on them some more. This hand for sure I want to work on though. Note of I note a lack of disagreement. I need to read up. Let's see. A Haguao face. I'm actually not. I don't know what that is. I assume it's also a something very lewd. Thralling emote sounds good. I need something to replace. Let's see that with when I am shouting about something being a crutch. Okay. I do not disagree. This is already an established fact. My sweet summer child. Yeah, dude. I'm pretty oblivious when it comes to a lot of things, and that's one of them on my list right now. I'll probably look it up after stream, and then I'll lose my innocence on that subject. Okay, let's do some fingers. Okay, it's a little fast. Might have to be the offset. That's probably what's gonna do it for me. We would never talk about something lewd. If I do, make sure I'm alone. Okay, dude. Hold on, give me a second, actually. I can look it up on my phone right now. Hey, wow. There's a hoodie. Okay, I gotcha. I mean, isn't that already like, isn't that like lewd? Or like a gasm emote? I saw. Okay, so I've seen it before. I just didn't know that's what it was called. I've seen like a meme picture of Thanos wearing one of those because it was like one of those like eBay memes, you know, where it, like recommended it along with a bunch of like other stuff. Well, I'm glad I know that. I know the name to that to what that is now. How do I want this hand to go? Okay, I think I want that for sure. Maybe I want it to open on this finger instead. Well, there we go. I just learned something today. I know what a Hweg Wow is. If that's the pronunciation, I'm not sure either. Okay, I think fingers are a little exaggerated. Let's tone it back, given the speed of the animation. Okay, obviously, gonna work on that. That's why we need both. I don't know, we'll see what happens in the future, you never know. Okay, let's make the fingers over here just slightly animated. Cool. Okay, let's do hair. It's probably going to add a lot to the animation is the hair movement. just do something extremely exaggerated for now, and then tone it down. Okay, so I want this to be toned down for sure. And I want the ends to bend more. I feel like this could bend more. Oops, guess I missed something. Yeah, okay, I forgot to copy paste it. Okay, now that's moving a little too much on the end for me. That accuracy though. Actually want to keep that the way it was. Okay, let's try offsetting it, see if this works good enough. Okay, I'm happy with that. That looks cool. Okay, other side. Other side's shorter, so it's gonna be easier. Okay, that's a little too fast. Probably also too fast. Okay, so let's adjust it. Kind of want it to curve more. Interesting. I think I'm okay with that. Okay, I can worry about these three later after I get this done. Okay, so let's start offsetting. Let's make this one heavier. Okay, didn't really change much. Okay, so I'm gonna make it slightly more close to each other in terms of the delays. Okay. Okay, I like that. Time for the other side of the hair. Okay, time to set up the curves for that and see how it looks. Okay, I would like it not to bend as much. Maybe even have this go up. Okay. It's hideous, yeah. Good. She's a lost little girl that needs hugs. She has a she definitely has a hide crit mod, and you can run into 4 of them if you're really unlucky. That's a comp that you can run into for sure. And if you do, I mean, rip your stress bars, because that's a lot of stress you're gonna be taking. I hope you brought anti stealth, because you're gonna need it. She doesn't have the bleed part though. I don't want to be that mean, but she does crit a lot. So I didn't want to add like a even a. Okay, so at that level it would be 3 points. The 3-point bleed that's multiplied to 5 rounds is still pretty deadly. I want it to be mostly like if you're low on health, this is gonna be like a oh crap I'm screwed type of deal where I'm gonna get wrecked by a bunch of little scavenging harpy women. But mostly it's like an in-between the room battles. It's like it's a sudden buildup of stress is what these characters are, if you can't handle them. What was I working on? That's right, the hair, and I'm liking the direction of the hair so far. I think I had these ones too. I gotta remember these have to be very subtle because they're not actually that big of a change. Or the way I did them means that I can't change them too much or else it looks strange. Okay, let's also make them go like that. I feel like that one's probably moving too much. Now we offset all of them. That one's a little insane. So move it like that, maybe. Maybe the movement itself is actually too exaggerated. Let's change that. Yeah, that's definitely too exaggerated. Okay, should be cool. I mean, yeah, if you want to hug this bird creature, go ahead. I don't know if it's going to be very pleasant. Actually, I don't really like this one right here. I'm going to change that somehow. I want to make sure I do it perfect. I think I'm okay with that though, just a very slight change. Even more, actually I might go more. No, I'm just fine with that. I think that's fine. Okay, let's do these bits right here on the jaw. Cool. Movement might be a little too extreme on that one. Okay. Cool. Okay, let's do this spike on her shoulder. There we go. Let's see. I always find the wrong things cute. Like this harpy and the Lamia's monster. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, maybe here, because I definitely wasn't aiming for cute. I was aiming for grotesque. I don't know. We're all different in our tastes. If you can find the harpy matriarch cute though, I'd be impressed. Okay, looking good. I'm liking the general direction of the character so far. Gotta work on these. missed something. Oh yeah, okay. Not sure where that came from. Oh, I moved it apparently. Just getting a good motion for the hairs sticking down here. Before I offset them so they look less odd. Okay, let's try offsetting them now. Yeah, that one still looks kind of odd. Let's see why. Looks like because the movement's a little too exaggerated. Okay. Oh, see a player. Don't take me as an example. It's all good. Okay, let's try that offset. A little too stiff. See how I can change that. That's pretty good. Now this one. It's pretty nasty. I think the movement's a little too extreme though. Yeah, I can see it now. This direction particularly. Okay, now I feel it doesn't move enough. Okay, let's give it a try again. That's a little better, I think. Okay, I'll leave it like that and look back at it once I work on some other stuff. If there's anything else, actually. What else is there? Hair's all good. That's all good. Knife is good. Oh, the hand. That's right, the hand. Oh, that explains a lot. Okay. Feels a little forced. Don't really want that. Okay. Okay, looking good. She looks like she wants to wreck you. That's good. Okay, so the only thing I think I want to try is making this leg bend awkwardly. Nah. Maybe more bend in this direction. The neck is creepy. Oh, this one? Yeah. It's pretty nasty. Not gonna lie. Okay, so I'm feeling like it's done. I'm gonna look at it a little bit more, just really think about it. I think for sure we can delete the dog. Look at these two, since they're the same faction. Okay, let me check something. Okay, forgot to connect one bone, which is the effect dot, which would connect to the upper spine. Okay, I think it's good. You can wing them. True. Okay, cool. So let's test it. Okay, exporting. Okay, I'll let that animation run while I go set this up so we can see it in game. Give me a sec, guys. Not a very complicated skeleton either. Okay, Harpy basic. Okay, that should be good. Gotta upload it to Steam. Okay, it's uploaded. Not that good. Okay, just waiting for it to download and then we'll be ready. Okay, looks good. Okay, I think it's good. Okay. Okay, so let's go check it out in game. Yep. Okay, I'll pause the music. Let's see if it looks good. My assumption is it is gonna look good compared to everyone else, but I guess we'll see.
Ruin has come to our family.
Okay, so just gotta have these two. No, we're just gonna see it in game. I set it up so that they spawn as the first encounter in the tutorial, so we could see them in game. Yeah, field test. The puns. To my screen mods. Here we go. Hopefully nothing wrong happened. Yeah, there we go. There's one crit. There's another crit. I think Reynolds gonna die. There goes Dismas. Okay, let's check it out. Well, he's stealth. That's the only problem, is he's stealth. So it's a little hard to tell. Oh wait, I can unstealth him. Heck yeah. If I hit him. Okay, so far I like the animation compared to everyone else. Yeah, 51 dodge. Rip your team. Okay, good, I hit him. Okay, there it is just normally. Okay, there we go. Cute Harpy is small. Yeah, the one in the back is raving like crazy. Yeah, so if I were to examine this party, damage dealer, marker and damage dealer, stressor, and then healer slash stressor. So, like, this person's job in this comp is specifically to heal whoever's low health and then to stress out your team. That's the goal. That's this one right here. They are pretty gross. What happens if you lose at the tutorial? It just sends you to the hamlet with no heroes, and then you get 2 replacement heroes in the stagecoach. So I like the character so far. I like this. I like the animation. I feel that this one's animation blends well with everyone else's, while still keeping like a interesting personality to it. Just checking it out. So far, I feel good about it. Oh yeah, and then ignores guard with her vile stab. He didn't even use it, so just ignores guard. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, exactly. Just hiding behind the big ones. Okay. Actually, yeah. Let's turn off the torch too. It's not really a good example of the lighting for them because the lighting in the dungeon is different than the one in the Weald. But I guess this gives a general idea of how they look in the dark. They look pretty creepy, actually. This one specifically, it really punches up the contrast between the colors. Okay, well, I guess that's gonna do it for the stream. If you liked any part of it, consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the description for my Twitch. I'll be back next week, so I want to do a curio next week, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to finish it this time. But if it's not a curio, then it's probably gonna be one of the crab people. So I'll do one, the crabs. Otherwise, thanks for watching the stream, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot about the mod and the animation process in general. Yeah. Okay, I'll see you all next week. Bye.